Today I speak to the one who is ready, ready to create not by chance but by law. My friend, the world you know is not the final authority. The world you see is but a shadow, a reflection of your internal assumption. And so I say to you with every breath in my being, the secret is to live in the end. This is not theory, this is not philosophy, this is truth born of experience, discovered through vision, confirmed in demonstration. The great secret is not effort, not struggle, not time. It is the assumption that the thing desired is already yours. If you will dare to persist in that assumption, despite the facts, despite the noise of doubt, despite what the world says, the outer world must bend to match your inner conviction. You are not here to chase, to beg, or to plead. You are here to command, not with arrogance, but with awareness. The God within you does not ask permission. It assumes, and in assuming, it creates. To live in the end means to imagine the state you desire, not as something distant, not as something to be earned, but as something already complete. You feel it, dwell in it, and walk as though it were true. You speak from it, think from it, sleep in it. And when you do this faithfully, the whole of reality reorganizes to mirror that end. And I promise you, it does not fail. What you are conscious of being, you become. The world will appear to change. People will shift. Opportunities will emerge. Circumstances will surprise you. But it is not magic. It is law. The law of assumption. So today I will take you into the living heart of this law. These revelations await you. Each one a key to unlocking your creative power. But hear me well. These are not to be memorized like lessons. They are to be lived, breathed, tested, and proven. They are food for the soul that is tired of waiting and ready to awaken. Let us begin together with the first truth, the law of assumption revealed. I want you to understand something so deeply, so unshakably, that it becomes the very lens through which you view your life. You become what you assume yourself to be. This is not a figure of speech. This is not poetic metaphor. It is the law. The law of assumption is the key that unlocks the creative power within you. Everything you call your life, your relationships, your circumstances, your bank account, your health, is the outpicturing of your assumption. Now, what is an assumption? It is not merely a thought. It is not a fleeting wish or a passing daydream. An assumption is a conviction. It is that which you accept inwardly and without question to be true of yourself and your world. Whether or not it is seen, whether or not it is confirmed by the senses, once assumed and felt as true, it begins to take shape in the external. The law of assumption does not ask, is it reasonable? It asks, is it accepted? For whatever you accept as real becomes real to you. And what becomes real to you, the world must echo. It is not cause and effect as the world teaches it. It is cause from within, followed by inevitable reflection without. You may say, but Neville, what if I am poor? What if I am sick? What if I am lonely? And I will say to you, you are none of these things unless you assume them to be so. You do not become wealthy by waiting for more money. You become wealthy by assuming the feeling of abundance. You do not become loved by chasing affection. You become loved by assuming yourself to be lovable. Test it. This is not blind belief. I urge you to test the law. Tonight, when you lie in bed, close your eyes to the facts of the day. Imagine instead that your desire has been fulfilled. What would you feel if it were true? What would you see? What would you hear? Enter that scene in imagination and dwell there until it takes on the tones of reality. Do not simply repeat affirmations like a parrot. Live the truth of your desire in your mind. Speak from the end, think from the end, feel from the end. If you persist, reality will conform. The law of assumption is not a technique, it is a law. It is the law of consciousness, your own wonderful human imagination creating reality by what it dares to assume. And so we proceed, my friend, to the next revelation. Feeling is the secret engine. You have heard me say many times, feeling is the secret. But what do I mean by that? I mean that feeling is the engine behind every assumption. It is not enough to say the words, I am wealthy, I am loved, I am free. Words without feeling are barren. They do not create. They do not stir the depths of consciousness. But once an idea is felt, truly felt in the core of your being, it begins to quicken and come alive. We are emotional creatures, not mechanical ones. The subconscious mind, that fertile womb of creation, does not respond to logic. It does not respond to reason. It responds only to feeling. The feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is what impresses the subconscious and causes it to bring forth its likeness in the outer world. When I speak of feeling, I do not mean emotion in the fleeting sense, not passing excitement, nor nervous energy, nor anxious desire. I speak of a sustained inner conviction, a calm and radiant knowing, a stillness that says it is done. And when that feeling becomes more real than the facts around you, you have moved mountains. You may ask, how do I cultivate the feeling? I say by creating the scene in imagination that implies the fulfillment of your desire, and then entering into it as though it were your present reality. What would you feel if you were now the person you desire to be? What would you touch? What would you hear? How would others treat you? Bring the scene to life with all the vividness you can summon, and then lose yourself in it. Fall asleep in that feeling. Let it cradle you as you drift into unconsciousness. For it is in sleep that the subconscious is most open to impression. If you sleep in the assumption that your desire is fulfilled, your waking world must begin to rearrange itself accordingly. Fall asleep in that feeling. Let it cradle you as you drift into unconsciousness. For it is in sleep that the subconscious is most open to impression. If you sleep in the assumption that your desire is fulfilled, your waking world must begin to rearrange itself accordingly. Remember, you do not attract what you want. You attract what you are conscious of being. And what you are is determined by what you feel yourself to be. Change your feeling of the I am, and you change your world. This is why I do not ask you to beg, to strive, or to chase. I ask only that you feel deeply, richly, completely the state you wish to occupy. For that state, once felt as true, becomes fact. Let us now go deeper still to understand how our inner conversations, those silent whispers, shape the world around us. You speak all day long, not just with your lips, but in the silence of your mind. Every moment of your waking life, and even in sleep, you are engaged in a stream of inner conversation. And these silent dialogues are not harmless chatter. They are the blueprint of your world. Understand this clearly. Your inner speech mirrors your assumptions, and your assumptions determine your reality. You cannot harbor thoughts of lack, inferiority, or rejection and expect a life of abundance, confidence, and love. It simply does not work that way. Your world is a faithful reproduction of your inner monologue. And let me show you how powerful this is. Suppose a man says, "No one values me." And he repeats this to himself daily, not aloud, but silently in his self-talk. He may smile outwardly, but inwardly he mumbles, "They never choose me. I always come last. I don't belong." These words, uttered silently with feeling, are seeds, and every seed reproduces after its kind. Soon, the world around him begins to reflect this belief. He's passed over for promotions. Friends forget to invite him. Lovers drift away. And he says, "You see, I was right." But I say to him, "No, my dear friend, you were not right. You were merely consistent in your assumption. Your inner conversation became your outer experience. To change your life, you must change your inner speech. You must dare to revise the script that plays in your mind. Speak to yourself lovingly, boldly, and from the state of the wish fulfilled. Say, "I am valued, I am chosen, I am welcome, I am loved," and persist, even when the facts scream otherwise. Do not argue with appearances. Replace them. Rehearse a new identity in your mind. Hear others congratulating you. Hear your loved ones praising you. Hear yourself responding with joy and confidence. This is not fantasy. This is prayer in its highest form. It is communion with the self that is God. And you must do it with feeling. The subconscious accepts what is felt to be true, not what is factually correct. That is why imagining a joyful conversation, truly felt, is more powerful than recalling a painful reality. Revise your inner speech nightly. Catch yourself when you speak in limitation and replace it with words of power. Over time, these new conversations become natural, and the world, always the faithful servant, will conform. Now, let us go further into the very seat of creation itself, your imagination. For imagination is not daydreaming, it is the creative act of God. When I tell you that imagination creates reality, I'm not offering you a poetic metaphor. I'm speaking of a spiritual law, a truth so profound that once you grasp it, your entire life will begin to change. Imagination is not a tool, it is the Creator itself. It is the divine power within you, the Christ in you, the only begotten Son who brings the unseen into visibility. You are not a passive observer in life. You are the imaginer, the conceiver, the projector of your world. Everything you experience, from your relationships to your finances, your health to your self-image, originates in imagination. The outer world is nothing more than a shadow. Okay? Let me give you an example. I have known men and women who transformed their entire lives by committing to an imagined scene and remaining faithful to it. One man imagined shaking hands with a friend who congratulated him on his promotion, though no such opportunity existed at the time. Each night, he played the scene in his mind, felt the grip of the handshake, heard the congratulatory tone, and smiled in satisfaction. Within weeks, an unexpected offer came, and he received the exact promotion he had lived in imagination. Was this coincidence? No, my friend, it was law. He imagined the end and lived in it, and reality followed. But the imagination must be disciplined. Do not confuse idle daydreaming with conscious creation. To imagine effectively is to construct a scene that implies your desire is already fulfilled, and to inhabit it with full sensory and emotional realism. Feel the scene, hear the sounds, see the faces, taste the joy, until the imagined experience feels more real than your current surroundings. You must persist in this imaginal act. It is not a one-time performance, but a new way of being. Each time you return to that imaginal scene, you are watering the seed, and eventually inevitably the seed breaks through the soil of experience. Remember this: your imagination is God in action. It is not secondary to your senses. It precedes them. The senses merely report the fruit of past imaginings. Change your imagination, and your senses will report a new harvest. Now I invite you to explore the next great truth: how the world arranges itself in response to your assumptions. It is what I call the bridge of incidence, the path from assumption to fact. Once you have assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled and impressed it upon the subconscious mind, the process of manifestation is set in motion. You may not see evidence immediately. You may not even understand how it could happen. But I tell you, from the moment the assumption is accepted, life begins to rearrange itself to bring it to pass. This rearrangement I call the bridge of incidence. The bridge of incidence is not something you plan. It is not the logical sequence of steps you could map out with the rational mind. No, it is far more elegant, more surprising, more magical than that. It is a series of seemingly unrelated, spontaneous, and natural events that unfold in such a way that the assumption you held in imagination is made manifest in your physical world. I have seen it countless times. A woman imagines reconciliation with a lost love, and suddenly she runs into him at a cafe neither had visited in years. A man assumes financial freedom, and within days, an old contact offers him a position that was never advertised. These are not coincidences. They are the bridge. But understand this: you must not interfere with the how. You are not the architect of the path. Your only role is to remain faithful to the end, to persist in the feeling that your desire is already fulfilled. The moment you begin to worry about how it will happen, you are leaving the state of the wish fulfilled. And if you persist in that worry, you will delay or even disrupt the manifestation. You may walk over the bridge unaware. It may appear mundane. You might take a wrong turn, miss a train, receive a strange phone call, or feel an urge to visit a friend. And yet, that very event may be part of the divine unfolding. The bridge does not always announce itself, but if you stay faithful to your end, the bridge will carry you step by step to your destination. Let no seeming setback disturb you. The bridge often includes the rearrangement of current conditions, which may appear as breakdown before breakthrough. But remain calm. Remain in your assumption. You do not need to push the river. Let it flow. When you assume the end, the means are provided. Walk with confidence and know that your desire is not coming. It is already yours in the invisible. The bridge is simply the echo of that inner reality making its way to form. And now, beloved, I leave you with this truth: nothing comes from without, all things come from within. The end you dare to live is the world you dare to shape. So go forth boldly, close your eyes to appearances, and open your heart to the unseen. Your inner world is the only cause. Dwell there in love, in peace, in fulfillment. You are not waiting for your blessing. You are the blessing. Walk as though it is done, and the world will echo. Amen.